This is Soerus Sanguines, and it's one of the complex ones, actually, this, because this is Bahar Mossadeghian from Tehran. She's an actress in Tehran. I knew her for quite a long time, and a really lovely woman, very sweet. And I only very rarely find someone that I want to put in a painting. Almost never happens. So I told her that, I think she would really work in a painting. And on that day, she shaved her hair off. Because I always like the women to have virtually no hair, shaven right back, as if they were preparing for execution or like prisoners. And the reason I like that is that I'm interested in mortality, and we are all approaching our own executions. It is the nature, the necessary nature of this life, isn't it? Is that it doesn't last forever in this place. So she did that, and a friend of hers in Tehran photographed her. So, and because of the plight of women in Iran, and I've had a lot of contact with Persians over the years and heard a lot of dreadful stories. And because of that, and the plight of women now, I wanted to feel around that subject in the painting. So just in the title, for example, Soerus Sanguines, two meanings to the word sanguine. It means optimistic on the one hand and bloody on the other. Both to do with blood. In other words, either full-blooded, optimistic, or bloody, in fact. And that pretty well sums up, Bloody Sisters sums up the women of Iran, and also optimistic sisters looking for a better time, or a better place, maybe. And the poem in the painting is written in Farsi, but it's W.B. Yeats, actually, The Second Coming. And I liked it because of a lot of the words in it felt very much like the situation in Iran, turning and turning, the widening gyre, the falcon cannot see the falconer. And he talks about the blood-dimmed tide. I mean, it's very ominous. And the beast slouching towards Bethlehem. I mean, it really feels like Tehran at this time to me. So I had it, one of Bahar's friends actually wrote it out in Farsi for me. She said her Farsi doesn't look nice. So yeah, a complex exploration of women under threat. Yeah, not just Tehran, of course, not just Iran, but the world over. A lot of women live under threat. I don't know literally what it means, but the idea of that, that hairy string, that nasty twine, of that in a palm hanging down, to me is very spooky. You wonder what is going to be done with that. It's a bit like in a film where there are a couple in a room and then there's a little side shot of a ball of hairy twine, and you don't know what it is, there's no explanation, but it gives you an unpleasant feeling. And so I wanted that unpleasantness circling around in the painting without explanation. Yeah, because I don't have an explanation for it. I lived on a tropical island once in the Caribbean. When I was getting serious about paintings on canvas, I worked up in the jungle on this beautiful island. And there happened to be an American medical school on the island. And I knew the professor of anatomy, and I asked him if I could come in and paint or draw the bodies, study the bodies of the cadavers in the school. And I said particularly the hands, and he gave me an arm with no skin, just the muscles and bones, dunked in formaldehyde, so they were frozen in a sense. But I studied then the whole structure of the hand, many days, drawing these hands with no skin. Very interesting. And I feel in life very sensual, very tactile and very visceral. I think our hands go before us, don't they? Like, there are so many expressions in language about what his hands wrought, what his hands did. You know, at his hands this happened. They really go before us. Doing all that we do in this world is done with our hands, in a sense. So I think they're important. And I've pretty much worn my hands out in this life with making things, doing things, painting things, touching things. My hands have been, they're half of me. I feel that life itself is astonishing. It's so unlikely. So it's not so much a concentration on mortality. Actually, it's more that life itself and our persistence is completely astonishing to me. I don't know how we do it. How it's possible. You know, you see people walking casually down the street. You know, the body works so beautifully, so flawlessly. When you watch a beautiful girl on a summer day walking down the street, it is poetry in motion, isn't it? It's pure music in a physical form. And it's a mechanism, a huge complex mechanism of skin and bone, and nerves and messages and chemicals. And it lasts so long. It just amazes me that life is possible. So it's that more. I think the mortality is the inevitable background of everything that lives, you know. It's just that life astonishes me, yeah. I believe that the scale of a painting is very, very important because its function is completely changed by scale. As is the function of a film, actually. The length of a film somehow changes its expectation and its function, doesn't it? And so, when you see a painting that is small, it looks charming or toy, almost whatever it's of. When it's life-size, it's very specific somehow. It is just a straight recognition. But what I like, though, in these paintings is I like a painting to dominate, to overwhelm the viewer, to be a fearful, monstrous presence in a certain way, to be affecting, you know. I think that's important. It's like someone standing a little too close to you. That's the effect it has, isn't it? Is that it's so large that it's like someone standing a little too close, invading you in a way. That on the one hand, they're very private, very personal, very intimate. And then in their making, it's very ritualistic, it's very ceremonial, the making of them, all the layers and all the stages. And it concludes with being a little thundering, like a worrying ceremony then. Yeah, that is fascinating, because those seem to be in kind of contradiction. But then it can be that way, can't it? If someone unknown to you or in an inappropriate situation is a little too close and a little too obvious about what is very personal, private, sensual, intimate, it is overwhelming. And I rather like that overwhelming quality, yeah. Yeah.
I might ask about this, the actual pose that she's in. It's almost as if she's wiping something away, of looking away from the poem. Really, her face, and the kind of key aspect of her face being in the kind of darkest, furthest side of the painting. This kind of feeling of being out of it, of kind of being pushed aside, which I think with the, reading it with the context of it, there's this sense of, not of the weight of the subject matter, almost being felt in her body.
Yeah. I think there are a couple of contradictions in this painting. And the choreography of it, as you say, that hand passing backwards over her face, almost like the women's costume in Iran, masking herself in a way. And there are contradictions because for me the choreography is very kind of ceremonial. In many of the paintings, it's very staged, mannered kind of poses. And there's another factor here, and it's this, and it's a theory of mine. It's that, particularly in the West, I think we read paintings like writing from left to right. We enter and pass. It's hard to imagine entering a painting from the right. For me, I think. I think we automatically enter from the left. So if a face in the painting looks to the left, we enter it and wonder about their thoughts. We enter that face, they stop us, and we are given pause about them, their opinion, their thoughts. If the face is the other way round, and it's looking out to the right, and Edward Hopper did this a lot. in his paintings of women sitting in rooms and looking out of a window, always to the right. What happened was you begin with the woman and you look out, abandoning the woman. So those women in those paintings always looked lonely because they were only the starting point, and you abandoned them and wondered what she was looking at instead of what she was thinking about what she was looking at, kind of. So on the one hand, this woman is being a little dismissive or a little dismissed. But on the other hand, she does stop us. We enter her and do wonder about that woman. I photographed a model here in Britain and took a whole bunch of photographs of a model, and I sent them to her and I said, these are the poses. And they did their best in Tehran and sent me back the images, and so it worked fairly well. But for a long time I thought that it hadn't worked well enough. I wasn't convinced about a lot of them. But then eventually, once again, I was reviewing them and thought, that could work if it was handled right. It could work. So I went ahead and did it, yeah.